Hi, this is Stacy from Stacy Rabbit Jewelry, and today I'm going to build on my basics series that I have started working on, which is inspired by my friend Katie. And I am going to show you how to make eye pins and turn those into earrings. So what I have here is a silver-plated copper wire, and this is 22 gauge. It is a German style wire, meaning it is what they call half hard. So it has, takes a little bit of force to bend, but not too much. And that is what I like to use to make eye pins out of. So we're gonna start with a 2-inch piece of wire. And I like to warm and smooth it a bit with my hand. And the first thing that we need to do is come in and make sure that the ends are flush cut. So you want to use this side of your cutters facing the longer piece of wire and just trim it and make sure that it has a flush end. Our first step is to make a simple loop on this end. So we're going to come in about 1 centimeter of distance from the end of the wire with our chain nose pliers. And I am just going to come in with my hand and bend that end to a 90-degree angle. And this is what that should look like. So in order to make a loop, we're going to use this next tool called a round nose pliers. And we're going to put the wire between the barrels at the very end of the wire and grip onto that and slowly bend that back. I usually come in and do this in 2 steps because I just find it easier for me to do. And so we're just going to keep turning that back until we get a loop. And this is a perfect example because you can see it's a little bit bent. What the good thing about wire is you can just come in and flatten that down with our chain nose pliers and it looks perfect. So we're gonna go ahead and put some decorative beads that we want onto our head pin. I've got some check glass here and a few seed beads as well. And I'm just popping those onto the open end of my wire. And this is what we have. You'll want to make sure that you leave at least about 1/2 inch of exposed wire after you have all your beads on so that you can turn that into a loop. We're going to go ahead and put a simple loop on the other end. We're going to come in with our pliers. I typically like to make my loops facing the same direction unless I have a particular reason, like something I want to point in a particular direction. So I'm going to grab just above my bead with my chain nose pliers. And you can actually, if your wire is soft enough and your finger is strong enough, you can bend this to a 90-degree angle by hand. And you do want to be careful that you don't put your pliers, if you're using it, right onto the bead, because I have cracked a few beads in my day and sometimes it's very sad. So we're going to come in and leave about 1 centimeter and just cut that off with the flush side pointing in of our flush cutters. And this is what it should look like. And we're gonna do exactly the same thing we did on the other side, which is use our round nose pliers to roll a loop from the end. So just go ahead and start your loop and slowly roll that back until it meets on the other side. So this is what it looks like, and you can see I have my loops facing the same direction. We can put a charm on this earring. So what I'm gonna do is come in with a head pin. Today I have a silver one to match my design. And I am going to put this check glass flower and seed bead onto my head pin. And we're gonna just do the same thing again, which is make a simple loop by bending the wire with our chain nose pliers at a 90-degree angle. We're gonna trim our head pin down to 1 centimeter. And this is what that should look like. And just as we did before, we're gonna grab the end of our head pin with our round nose pliers and slowly and steadily roll that back to make a loop. So the last thing we have to do is assemble our earring. I have an ear wire, a charm, and our wire with 2 simple loops at each end by making my own eye pin. I'm gonna start with this piece here, and I am gonna come in with a chain nose pliers and open a loop. The important thing to know on a loop is don't pull them, but just twist with your wrist away from you. You can then thread on your head pin charm, and you're gonna do exactly the opposite, which is come in and gently close it. I like to support this with my finger. It seems to prevent warping of the metal. And then we're just gonna go and do exactly the same thing to add our ear wire on the other side. So we are gonna do the same thing, which is use our pliers to open our loop, put on our ear wire, and then close up our loop, just like that. And this is what we end up with. Pretty simple. Thank you for joining me at Stacy Rabbit Jewelry. Check out my other how-to videos.